The letter arrived on a Tuesday. Arnold Schwarzenegger's secretary handed it to him without reading it. That was the rule. But this one felt different. The envelope was worn, the handwriting shaky. The stamps were from Arizona, not Los Angeles. Arnold almost threw it away. He received thousands of letters every month. Fan mail, love letters, death threats, pleas for money, requests for autographs. He couldn't read them all. It would drive him insane. But something about this envelope made him stop. He opened it. Dear Arnold, it read in broken English, written with a trembling hand. My name is Marcus. I am 23 years old, and I have been paralyzed from the waist down for 5 years. Every day I wake up, and I cannot move my legs. Every day I think about dying. But then I watch your movies. I watch you on screen. So strong, so powerful, so impossible to break. And I think, if Arnold can be that strong, maybe I can be strong too. Maybe I can survive one more day. You saved my life, Arnold. You don't know me, but you saved my life. I just wanted you to know. Arnold sat in his office for a long time after reading that letter. He didn't move. He just held the paper in his hands and read it again, and again, and again. Something inside him broke open. For years, Arnold had been living in a bubble. He was famous. He was rich. He was powerful. He had everything the world said would make him happy. But reading Marcus's letter, he realized something. He had no idea what his movies actually meant to people. He had no idea that his image, this larger-than-life character he had created, was keeping someone alive. Arnold picked up the phone. He called his secretary. Find this person, he said. Marcus, from Arizona. I don't care what it takes. Find him. It took 3 weeks, but they found him. Marcus lived in a small apartment in Phoenix, Arizona. Wheelchair accessible, but barely. The walls were covered with Arnold posters. Terminator 2 playing on repeat on an old television. Weights in the corner that Marcus hadn't touched in years because he couldn't use them anymore. When Arnold walked through that door, Marcus thought he was hallucinating. Hello, Marcus, Arnold said, extending his hand. I got your letter. Marcus's eyes filled with tears instantly. He couldn't speak. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely grip Arnold's hand. For 5 years, he had been invisible to the world. For 5 years, nobody had come. Nobody had called. Nobody had cared that he was alive or dead. And now the man who had saved his life was standing in his living room. How did you? Marcus couldn't finish a sentence. I came to meet you, Arnold said simply. Because what you wrote, it mattered. It matters. Arnold sat down across from Marcus, not in a power position, not in an interview pose. Just sat down like a normal person, like a human being. And he listened. Marcus told him everything. How the accident happened. A car crash. 5 years ago. T4 spinal cord injury, complete paralysis. How the doctors said he would never walk again. How his family stopped visiting after the first year. How his friends disappeared. How he spent 2 years thinking about suicide every single day. How he discovered Arnold's movies in a dark moment, watching Terminator on a hospital TV, and something inside him shifted. You never quit, Marcus said, tears streaming down his face. In every movie, you never quit. You get knocked down and you stand back up. You get shot and you keep fighting. You get frozen and you break out. And I thought, if this man can never quit, why should I? Arnold listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't offer platitudes. He just listened like Marcus was the most important person in the world. Because in that moment, he was... Then Arnold asked a question that changed everything. Marcus, what do you want to do with your life? Marcus laughed, a broken, desperate laugh. I want to walk again. No, Arnold said firmly. I mean, what do you want to do? Not walk. Do. What's your dream? Marcus had never thought about it like that. His dream had been so simple. Just survive. Just wake up and not kill himself. Just make it through another day. Nobody had ever asked him what he wanted beyond that. I don't know. Marcus said. Think, Arnold said. Before the accident, What did you want to be? A coach, Marcus said quietly. I wanted to be a strength coach. I wanted to help people get strong. Arnold stood up. Then that's what you're going to do. What happened next shocked everyone. Arnold spent the entire weekend with Marcus, not as a celebrity visit, as a real commitment. He brought in people, physical therapists, nutritionists, strength coaches. He filmed Marcus's story. He posted it on his social media. He used his platform to raise awareness about spinal cord injuries and adaptive athletes. But more than that, he made Marcus a job offer. I'm starting a program, Arnold said, for athletes with spinal injuries. I need someone who understands what they're going through. Someone who can look them in the eye and say, I'm paralyzed and I'm still strong. That person is you. You'll work with me. You'll help me train these athletes. And you'll show the world that disability doesn't mean inability. Marcus couldn't believe it. But I can't walk. Neither can some of the greatest athletes in the world. Arnold said, that's not the point. The point is that you're strong. Not because of your legs, but because of here. He pointed to Marcus's chest. Your heart, your will, your refusal to break. The shocking part nobody expected. Arnold didn't just hire Marcus. He became his friend. Over the next year, Arnold visited Phoenix regularly. They trained together. They talked for hours. Arnold brought his family to meet Marcus. His kids met this paralyzed man who had become Uncle Marcus. It was real. It was human. It was the opposite of everything the celebrity world demanded. But here's the thing that nobody knew, the thing that would shake everything up. 3 months into working with Arnold, Marcus discovered something in the medical literature, a new spinal cord regeneration treatment, experimental, expensive, only available in Switzerland. A 50-50 chance it could restore some sensation and movement. He told Arnold about it, and Arnold's response shocked him. Do you want to do it? Arnold asked. Of course, Marcus said. I could walk again. No, Arnold said. That's not what I'm asking. Do you want to do it? Or do you think you should want to do it? Marcus had to think about that, because the truth was, he had built a life now. He had purpose. He had work. He had Arnold as a friend. He had meaning. And if the treatment failed, it could all be taken away. Or worse, it could partially work, leaving him in more pain than before. I'm scared, Marcus admitted. If I try and fail... Then you fail, Arnold said. But at least you tried. That's all any of us can do. Try. That's the whole philosophy, isn't it? Never give up. Try. Even if the odds are against you. Try. So Marcus did it. He went to Switzerland. He had the procedure. And it worked. Not completely. Not like in the movies. But partially. He regained some sensation. Some movement. Enough that with intense physical therapy, he could take steps. Assisted steps. Steps with a walker. But steps. The day Marcus took his first steps in 5 years, Arnold was there. And when Marcus fell, because the first attempt failed, Arnold caught him. He didn't let him fall. He held him up. And Marcus cried like he hadn't cried since the accident. But the most powerful moment came next, because Marcus turned to Arnold and said something that nobody expected. I wouldn't have survived to take these steps if it wasn't for you. And I need you to know something. These steps, they're not because of my legs. They're because you showed me that I was still strong, that I was still capable, that I mattered. So thank you for everything. Arnold hugged him, and for the first time in front of someone else, Arnold cried too. The story would have ended beautifully there. But life doesn't work like that. Life has twists. 1 year later, Marcus had a setback. The progress plateaued. The doctors said the partial recovery he'd achieved might be all he'd ever get. More progress was unlikely, maybe impossible. Marcus fell into depression again. Not the dark depression of before, but a real devastating depression. The kind that comes from hope being crushed. And this is where the real story begins. Because Arnold didn't leave. When Marcus was struggling, Arnold canceled a film shoot to spend a week in Phoenix with him. When Marcus was thinking about giving up, Arnold reminded him, "You've already done the impossible once. You survived when everyone said you wouldn't. You walked again when they said you couldn't. What's one more impossible thing? But more importantly, Arnold did something that shocked the world. He announced that he was using his own money to fund spinal cord research. Millions of dollars. Not for publicity. Not for tax breaks. Just because Marcus had made him understand what was at stake, what was possible, what the world was ignoring. If we can put a man on the moon, Arnold said in a speech, we can fix a broken spine. And I'm going to make damn sure we do. The speech went viral. Celebrities joined the cause. Medical institutions received funding. Research accelerated. Within 5 years, new treatments were being developed that wouldn't have existed without Arnold's push. But the most important thing happened in a quiet moment. Marcus was training a new adaptive athlete, a kid who had just become paralyzed in a football accident. The kid was suicidal, hopeless, completely broken. And Marcus looked at him and said, "Let me tell you about the day Arnold Schwarzenegger changed my life. Not because he fixed my body, but because he showed me that my body wasn't what mattered. My will mattered. My heart mattered. My strength, the real kind of strength, mattered. And so do you." And the kid started to cry. And Marcus held him. And in that moment, something sacred happened. Because Marcus wasn't just surviving anymore. He was living. He was helping. He was being the strength coach he'd always wanted to be. Arnold, watching from the doorway, understood something profound. He had thought his strength came from his muscles, from his determination to train harder than anyone else, from refusing to accept limits. But watching Marcus, paralyzed, limited, broken in ways Arnold could never understand, being stronger than anyone Arnold had ever met, he realized the truth. Real strength isn't about muscles. Real strength is about showing up for people, about seeing someone suffering and deciding that their pain matters, about using whatever power you have to change someone's life, not because you're a hero, but because you're human. Years later, when people asked Arnold what his greatest achievement was, he didn't talk about Mr. Olympia titles. He didn't talk about Terminator. He talked about Marcus. "That man taught me what it means to be strong," Arnold would say. "I spent my whole life building muscles, but he spent 5 years building character, and that's worth more than all the titles in the world." Marcus, by then a renowned adaptive sports coach, would laugh when he heard Arnold say that. "I'm only here because you believed in me," Marcus would say. "You saw something in me that I couldn't see in myself. You showed up. You stayed. You made me matter when I thought I was invisible." And here's the truth that neither of them would fully admit. They saved each other. Arnold had become cynical, isolated, trapped in a world of fame and power that left him empty. And Marcus showed him what real meaning looked like, what real impact meant, what it truly meant to change a life. So when you watch Arnold's movies now, remember Marcus. Remember that behind every larger-than-life hero is a real person using that image to save lives. Remember that strength isn't about muscles or power or dominance. It's about showing up for the people who need you most. And remember that sometimes the person who saves you isn't the one with the biggest muscles. It's the one with the biggest heart. Arnold Schwarzenegger learned this when he walked into a small apartment in Phoenix, Arizona, and met a paralyzed man who was stronger than he'd ever been. And everything changed.